Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Safe Space podcast. My name is still Inyen Adomi. I'm super excited to be back here to see you. I know you guys miss me. I missed you too. And I'm promising you that this time you will see my face more often and we'll be having an amazing time in the year 2025. Today, I have a super guest with you. He's a gender advocate and a development practitioner. His name is Isaiah Ibiri. Welcome, Isaiah, to our podcast today.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much for coming. I know how long we've been trying to do this. Your schedule is a bit busy. You know, the big man lifestyle. It's okay, I understand. So the topic is gender equality, striking the right balance. So I have a question for you, right? How does International Day of the Boy Child feel to you as an individual, as a boy? Do you think it makes you feel what special? Because for me, International Women's Day, International Day of the Girl Child makes me feel really excited. You know, just reminds me of who I am. So how do you feel as an individual before we go right into the conversations?
Yeah, people who bring the argument that you people should shout the way women are making noise about their own day. It's your responsibility, body to make noise, our own women pets. It's not as easy as that. There's still more like systemic issues, not like men don't want to shout or men don't want to make noise. I give you an example. International Men's Day, you see a woman posting herself and say she's a single mother. So the only day we have, you didn't even see the gloss with Chris Ehe. You're still posting yourself that you're a single mother. Then we have single fathers too.
That will not post them.
It's how men that for some reason, it can be whatever, the women let them, and they're the one that fend for the kids alone. You will not see them come on Women's Day to say, I blame both the man and the mother and the woman's role, right? So, yeah, International Men's Day, Boys' Day, you know, it's Father's Day, and all of that. It's just, I think Father's even has a little bit more.
Because then female children are celebrating their fathers.
But men and boys there, it just feels like people are doing it just to take it. It will even surprise you that even the UN may not even post the great shot that day. So that's why I say it's a systemic thing. Even the United Nations and other people, the efforts they even use to post about boy child day is not the same effort as the girl child.
I don't know what you mean by effort. How do you measure effort?
Oh, no, the noise, the glamour, the everything. You see people, celebs doing their short videos, talking.
True.
You don't see that energy when it comes to the poor child. So over the years, nobody's really excited. Even me, I even forgot it's even boy child. I even forgot, right?
So, but if I'm being sincere, right, I feel like 2025 International Day of the Boy Child has been one of the most celebrated. I saw schools celebrating their boys. They brought their fathers home to schools. Some school did dress to represent your culture. But I personally love the celebration that happened on this international. I was so excited about it. And I feel like you have said, boys need to be celebrated more. You support gender equality. You've also expressed concern that men are now being neglected. What specific issues do you think are being ignored when it comes to men?
I agree that I support women empowerment and the idea of feminism and all of that, right? It's also true that women have faced sort of like systemic disadvantages over the years, and the fight right now is even still far from being over. So those are actually facts. Right. But again, in trying to solve this problem, we are sort of creating an unequal society. What do I mean? In trying to fight for women empowerment, we are also in the same way neglecting another gender and not trying to make things fair and equal.
Okay.
In trying to empower women and advocate for women empowerment and all of that, we are there creating a blind spot for the boy child rights. And take, for example, the society that we are now. So many young boys are depressed. You are being told there is this social kind of construct that tells you to man up, to own up.
Don't cry.
Man, don't cry, don't this, don't that, and all of that, right? So yes, we are trying to empower the girl child. But in the same way, we are there creating a blind spot, and that's not fairness. Well, that's not equity, and that's not this injustice, right?
Okay.
So we shouldn't create a problem when we are trying to solve one.
What's the problem?
For me, what that entails for me is that we are not saying that because you are trying to take care of the boy child, we should neglect the women. That is not the conversation. The two truths can coexist, right? You can walk and still chew gum at the same time, right? So we shouldn't create a society where you are empowering women and you are neglecting the boy, because you are creating a bigger problem.
Yeah.
Right? Boys, some young boys are into drugs now. There's a lot of addiction. They're into drugs. There is depression. There's broken relationships. If you trace some of these things back, you can trace them back to this neglect of the boy child, where they have been told to man, or they have been told not to speak or be a man. There have been this narrative of that you are just to provide, just make money and provide for a woman, and that's all. Just be a man, you get. So it has created a society where these young boys have issues, right? There are issues, but they can't speak up. They can't express them. These issues now have not translated to addiction, violence, drug abuse, and all of those sort of things. Let's even talk of fatherhood, right?
Yeah.
We celebrate the super moms. We call them new quotes. Supers. Of course, we should celebrate them. We don't talk about what it means to be a present father, especially for low-income households.
Yes.
There are so many fathers in low-income households who genuinely want to do better. Genuinely, they want to do better. But there are no tools. There are no support systems for them. In fact, even at the societal level, there are no societal support for them to just show up differently, right?
Yeah.
So the conversation is still in a very skewed way. You're celebrating a super mom, that you are not even talking about those men in low-income household. There are some fathers. I was listening to one. I saw one post on IG where there are 4 of them. The guy said that for the first time in a while, he saw the dad smiled. Like
for the first time in a while.
So
okay, well, maybe not
ever. I genuinely like laughing and smiling.
I wonder how they're making to smile.
So he now asked, like, what's happened? The dad now said that in 25 years, for the first time, he's not thinking of school fee in the month of 4th January. Because they're all done with school. And he cannot buy clothes for himself. Cannot buy shoes for himself. Shoes, new clothes. And all of that. So, but those men, we don't celebrate them enough, right? We don't. We just celebrate the super mom who say, I'll be single mother, I've trained 4 kids, the man ran away and left me. I'm a super mom, you get. So we still always drive this story in a very skewed and one-sided way, right? So overall, let's not create a blind spot trying to solve one thing.
Okay, so 2 things I want to just respond. The first is, you talked about fathers from low-income homes. I also think that even fathers from rich families, right? Some of them are not present. So this can even still apply for fathers from rich families. For instance, being a present dad is beyond providing.
Yeah, of course.
It's beyond providing. So you can pay the bills, you can do everything that you need to do, quote unquote, but you're not a present father, because then you're not your children's life and all that. And then the second thing is what you just shared about we're not celebrating the super dads. Again, I want to take you back to the beginning of our conversation. Do you think it's because men generally don't even celebrate themselves? Because these women that you're giving an example, they're come online with their phones to say, oh, this is what I've been doing for my kids. And then even for parents that are not on social media. So let's not just judge it by those coming online to say and we spam more. How about mothers who tell their children or make their children see the efforts and the things that they are doing? How about that? The fathers don't show it. Sometimes even when the fathers are available at home, they don't make their children understand the sacrifices they are making. It's just always so strict. Like you say, this man has not smiled in a while. So probably doesn't even have conversations with the children to say, oh, these are the sacrifices I'm making, like the mothers. So do you think that that's something that your gender needs to work on? Because again, nobody will celebrate you but yourself. Don't you think so?
So the issue of men not celebrating themselves in the household. So I just think that, so for example, yes, the mothers are very good at, following the kids and telling them, oh, this one, I've done this. But again, I think that's where being present in your child's life comes in, right? Not just that traditional way that men are being brought up to say, just provide. Your work is just to provide. Don't be weak. Don't be a weak man. Just provide. So that African narrative that a man was just to provide money and they didn't leave. So you see how in an African household, the children are more closer to the mom.
Oh, true.
Because the man just sees who whole mindset is to go and hustle, pay money, pay house rent, pay school fee. No time to be with them, gist with them, go out with them, and all of that. Is always the mom doing that. So the children would naturally get more attached to the mom and now feel like the mom is doing the most. So the men are there toiling, working hard there. And so I think is that issue of also not just being a bank account.
Yeah.
Be present.
I heard that one very loud. Okay.
Just be present.
Just be present. Just be present. I think I'm going to take that one for me. Don't just be a bank account. Just be present.
The modern day feminist movement actually came to challenge a lot of traditional things and all of that. And it's actually good, right? And some of these traditional things, some of it were not as if they were good.
Uh-huh.
Their foundations were from some belief system and some wrong ideology.
Yeah.
Right? So the modern feminist movement just came to just shatter that sort of table and all of that.
Yes.
Right? But again, moving away from that, right? So for me, that movement it's not really about erasing men, right? That movement sort of, for me personally, is about making men and women see themselves as full human beings. In what sense? So for fatherhood, right, like what I said before, that movement have created a space where fathers should not just see themselves as bank accounts. They should be listeners. They should be present. They should learn to hug their kids, right? That movement has created that. Then for leadership, that movement have created where men should start leading with empathy and not just authority.
Yes.
Should not just lead because I am a man. That's why I am leading. So you should not hinge your authority on being a man. You should lead with empathy too. That movement has also created an environment where for sort of, we talked about fatherhood, leadership and responsibility. For responsibility, it has brought about sort of a shared responsibility. Yes, men are no more the only ones.
Which is an advantage.
All the bills. So again, it's not a loss. It's more, it should even be a relief.
Yes.
Right? It's not even a loss. But again, the deeper thing around it is that in all of this, we should, it's not about silencing the women or silencing the men or all of that. As we are trying to advocate for women to rise, right, we should also create a space where men are unlearning the old way and learning new things.
Yes.
As we are empowering women to rise, should also help men to evolve.
Yes.
Around this, right? Because if we don't help men to evolve, what will not happen is that we are not building a balance. We are creating a system where one side is silence, and silence in the long run can be dangerous. So let's help men to evolve as we're helping women to rise.
That is very key. As we help women, as we empower women, we should also ensure that we're helping men to evolve. Because eventually, just like you have said, what will happen is that we are spending a lot of time empowering women, building the women, and they still go back home to these husbands, these fathers.
Those old mindsets and all of that.
So I think that with this, one of the things we should be doing, I know that most organizations are already doing it. One of the things we should emphasize is conduct training for men, help them understand what their roles are in the family beyond just providing. I can't imagine a society where men cry, when they're allowed to cry. Men are allowed to hug their children. When you said hug, I just miss my dad. Like, I wish I hugged him a lot.
There are a lot of people that I'm not sure my dad has ever told me, I
love you.
It's strange. If he says it, I'll think he's Ilade.
You told your father that you love him.
Yeah, I didn't grow up that good.
Okay, now later. Okay, fine. Now we are having this conversation. This is 2025, and you're saying it yourself that we need this.
My mom has told me, and I've told her.
No. So now we are dealing with your gender. So I think that you boys, I'm sorry I'm using boys for this part right now, should be able to start teaching your fathers that, hey, I'm in a different generation, and in our generation, this is what things are. This is how things should be. And start by telling your dad you love him.
He won't tell you.
I give him a hug or give him a pet.
Tell your dad, I love you. I'm not sure. When you tell him on phone, I love you, ask you what you want.
But for real, it's something that you should practice. And I want you to give me the behind the scenes gist of how you reacted to the I love you.
Okay.
If not, why are we here?
Oh, true.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that response. So my next question is, some argue that men have more unspoken struggles like mental health challenges and social expectations of masculinity. Do you think the society acknowledges this struggle enough? I mean, the society as it is today.
In reality, the society has not acknowledged men's mental health struggle enough, right? A lot of young boys are depressed. So we were handed a social script that just says, man up, don't cry, be a provider, don't sound weak, don't look weak. So it's more like a social script handed over from years to years. Even if you go online on Twitter, there are people who are preaching this masculinity, don't cry, your job, I say, there is even this guy on Twitter, they call him Agba or something. He's indoctrinating men with ideologies like women don't love, your only work is to provide. Women don't have the capacity of loving.
Wow.
It's just that
people are following him.
Yes, and he has a lot of these followers. There's always there for what they can benefit from you as a man. The day you cannot provide, that's it. Right. So it's a social script, right? Provide. So you now see that young men now are sort of, they're having a lot of struggles, right? Dropping out from school.
Yeah.
They're depressed and all of that. And that has led them into different vices. They're into, some people you see that have like drug addictions. It's, if you look deeper, it's a compounded thing. They are alone. They can't share their struggles, right? And even when men are given this small space to even now share their struggle, it's more like a whisper. Even when they now tell them, okay, fine, we want to hear you, and they are vulnerable enough to now share how they feel. Mm-hmm. We don't even listen to what they say with compassion. So when they now talk, you now say, it's a small thing, man up and deal at the people. They now go back to their shell and they are now
same the you're sharing to, right?
Yes, indeed. I think it depends on generally, right? They now go back to their shell and they are now silent, right? So we should be creating. So the conversation around mental health should not really be like,
it's not a gender,
not a man-woman thing, right? It should be a human needs help. It's a kind of every conversation. I'm a human and I need help. If not, we're not creating an equilibrium society. We're creating one that is skewed, just one place, and the men don't have that sort of space to be here and just see their line.
Yeah. Beautiful insight there, because as a professional, as a psychologist, I've realized that most of my clients are females. Now, not necessarily because women are the only ones that have mental issues. Men have mental issues, but they shy away from having these conversations.
Go for therapy.
You don't go for therapy. You know what? I had a conversation with someone recently, and like, I think you should come in for a session. He started laughing. He said, I will send my wife instead. I'm like, no, you should. He said, no, I don't have mental health issue. I'm a man. I don't cry. But that's the problem.
Yeah.
Again, I will still put it back to you guys that your gender need to do better with self-care. Right. So if there's one particular issue that the boy child currently face in the society that you, let's say you become the president right now, like you could change, what would it be and why? Why is that particular issue a priority for you as an individual?
If there is one issue that I would change for the boy child, is just to be able to help the boy child to learn how to lead in the right way. Right? Not
How to lead in the right way.
not lead because you are a man or because society have told you that you are a man. When men are taught to lead in the right way, it affects from family to other facets of the society. Okay. Statistics shows that rape in Israel is one rape case out of 3,000 women population. Without so much of loss, and how did they achieve it? Is grooming the male child very well for the family level, that people who are more family oriented. If we can fix our value system from the family level, right, it would affect a whole lot of things when young boys are being groomed well from the family level and they take that grooming into the larger scarcity. If we check some men who are abusive, they took that from home. They must have watched their parents abusive. They must have seen their dad. The only thing it was to provide and shout on the woman, bring my food, bring this. So they grew up with that mindset that that's what I'm just to do, and that's how to treat a woman, right?
Yeah.
So that sort of value reorientation, maybe the church can also help from the family and at the church level. We just help to groom men the right way to lead right.
I was not expecting this response. I thought you were going to say maybe you make it compulsory for boys to assess mental health services. I was expecting you to say something, but you just said to lead in the right way. And it's so deep because everything has to do with the way people are groomed.
Yes.
A child comes to this world completely empty.
Of course.
It's how they've been trained. A child is being trained, the
experiences.
So how do you feel about quota systems, right? Quota systems, affirmative actions, and all the policies that have been set in place to protect women and then bring gender equality. But do you think that these policies have any disadvantage on men?
Yeah, it doesn't have any disadvantage on men for me. So nobody wakes up and say, take this role, right, because you are not competent, right? So quotas, affirmative action and quota system was just to create a system that is just right.
Mm-hmm.
Men are feeling threatened somehow because you would feel uncomfortable when a privilege is sort of like challenge, right? And yeah. So there are women who have been competent in the past that are very competent, but they lose out on some positions and offices just because they were a woman.
Right.
So the quota system in reality is just trying to say, let's just create a system that is just fair, that can also give women access to opportunities, right? Because again, let's just give them that chance, right? And say, okay, fine, can we reserve 30% of this for women to come in and all of that? So it's not threatening men, actually, in my opinion. It's not.
You're a wise man.
The other way,
okay, there's another way.
Create a quota system. Let's not also create a problem where a woman will just feel like whatever I do in this world, I should just get it just because I am a woman. Right? So that will now start affecting their sense of working hard, putting in their best, because they just know that once I'm going to apply for this thing, this a quota kept for me, I should get this thing because I'm a woman. For example, I've seen cases on social media, you've seen cases where a guy paid a lady money to render a service. This is a business transaction. I paid you. You did not deliver the service, and I tell you, refund my money. And the girl starts giving you attention and comes back and tell you, why am I refunding the money? You can't leave this for a fine girl.
No, she did not. She literally defined the airlines on this, babe. I would really love you to make sure the noise is for you. Ford and me, the very, let's be real. There's something called fine girl privileges. I mean, that's cool. There's something called fine girl privilege. And that's what we are. That's so that.
Of course, yes, quotas, women have so far been denied lots of things.
Okay, you know that currently now one of the conversations that is going on in the political space is that women are requesting for extra seats, right? Seats reserved for women and by women. But you have to say, what's your take on that? Since you said women should not get to a point where they know that, because I'm a woman, there's this special quota that has been kept for me. What do you have to say about the extra seats for women that is currently being advocated for?
When it comes to reserving seats for...
Think of Rwanda when you answer this. You've been to Rwanda before. You know how the country is. So think of Rwanda. Just have Rwanda in the back of your mind while you answer this.
Yes, so if we are reserving a seat for women, right, it's just sort of a mixed feeling. I don't have an issue with it to say, okay, let's reserve 10 seats for women, let's reserve 5 seats for women. But let us still go back to, is this a systemic problem? I give you an example. In school, I was a student leader. I was in school politics, right? Women don't buy. They made form for girls free. If you're a lady, any post you want to pick from, any post you want to pick the form, it is free because you are a lady. But guess what? We're begging women with form, free form, to come and pick the form. You go to the university now. How many women get involved in student politics?
Funny enough, I think that they do get involved. However, now, no, this is how they get involved. When it comes to the voting, they are involved in the process of voting. They come out on elections days to vote, but the processes that leads to the election day, from picking the form, from contesting, some women are not necessarily interested in all that, but they make majority of the voters.
So we're talking about the youth now going to Grand Lead. If you check, right, like I said, I don't have a problem with keeping spaces for this in women, but if we check, some of the guys, some men now who are in politics now, they started doing this alota thing from school days. So God lend you that struggle in school, alota this, alota that. How many women try to learn those and the first thing even in school? So it's part of the grooming thing. They're just being told to go to school and get good grades and none of that. Come to society, have good grades, get your math. So a girl just come to school and doesn't want to involve in any extracurricular activity at all. And the guy is learning the ropes, getting involved in school politics, knowing people. If two of them enter the larger society, who do you think will have an advantage? One was doing the school and still doing extracurricular things. The other one just faced school alone. If you call her pick for this, no, I don't want to get involved in school wins, in school politics. Now she now finds herself in the larger society now, and this other guy knows politics is politics anywhere
in the world.
Yeah, but overall, right, women should be allowed from the family level to expose themselves, get involved in politics, learn the role. Not just to say, go to school, get good grades, and get married. That's always the grammar. Go to school, get good grades, and get married, right?
Have your kids.
We should also allow them to take risks like men. Take risks, right? Learn things so that when they go to the larger society now, they can be able to function one. They should not say, if I'm going there, there should be one seat kept for me. As we are keeping the seats for them, it is fine, but let us try to also groom them too.
So balance.
And things up because men have gone far in politics.
Men have gone far. Men have gone far. This particular battle, quote and unquote, is a long one, but we'll get there. I want to believe we'll get there. So, Iberi, we've been having an amazing conversation. So, I want you to just send a message. This is not your final thought yet, anyway, but just send a message to men, to boys, this International Day of the Boy Child. What would you say that men should do to prioritize their mental health? Because this is a mental health conversation. Even though we literally talked about politics, we've talked about everything. But what would you say to men to protect their mental health, to ensure that they prioritize self-care?
So I would just say simple that men should learn to speak up. Men should learn to men should just learn to show up, and men should also learn to be vulnerable.
Vulnerability.
society tells you to man up, to be strong, not to be weak, be masculine, be this, be that, but just I feel we should also prioritize to learn to be vulnerable, learn to speak up, learn to seek help.
Yeah.
Right. And just learn to do all of these things. And also learn to be a good leader. Just learn to be learn to lead right.
Learn to be a good leader, learn to speak up, learn to be vulnerable, learn to cry. Can I add that part?
Yeah.
Please cry. You are allowed to cry. You're allowed to shed tears. You're allowed to feel emotional. What is it, hard man, you want to kill? You're your own. You don't even know what's going on.
Yeah. Just learn to express emotions, right? Because it looks like it's not a manly thing to express emotions, right? That's power being grown. Learn to express emotion. And again, learn to prioritize your peace. If you don't have peace of mind, just japa.
You didn't say japa. Like when you mean japa, like leave.
Whatever the japa is.
Right? It can be
whatever the japa.
You're suffering from a toxic space, Good one. So what are your final thoughts? Thank you so much. You've said so much in this episode, and I cannot wait for the impact and the positive response to come. So what are your final thoughts for this podcast today?
I'll put the final thoughts this way. This conversation should not be a women should be a societal issue.
Yeah.
It affects men, it affects boys, it affects communities, villages.
Yeah.
What are we fighting for? Or what is this gender fight all about? It's for fairness, equity, rights, justice, right?
Yeah.
Those things I mentioned, they don't know any gender.
I agree.
So let's make this look like we are trying to create a fair world, right? A world that's balanced for everyone, and not a world where we are fighting for women only and silencing men.
So guys, you have heard him. Isaiah Berry, he has shared his 2 cents on the gender conversation. Been having an amazing time in today's episode. We want to say thank you so much for coming and for being a part of this conversation. Thank you for being vulnerable enough to come here and share. Please, I have my own final word for you. Call your father and tell him you love him. And then go and give your father a kiss. Kiss him here, kiss him here, kiss him here, kiss him here. Give him kisses. And I don't want your sister to be the one kissing you as a boy. Kiss him. Start with your own generation, teaching them.
After I do that, you will even be looking at him. The guy is kind of...
Let him look at you. We will get much, guys. We've had an amazing time. Until we meet again on our next episode, do have an amazing time. Bye.